Okay, so welcome back to the Off the Balcony podcast, and today I did something that I never thought I'd do. If you know me, you know I'm a big military science fiction fan, and despite that, I watched all of Love Live twice before I saw a frame of Full Metal Panic, one of the biggest military science fiction franchises of anime. But I can safely say that we have also finished Full Metal Panic as of today. So
I mean, that's finished with a question mark because how they ended the season is kind of
Might take another 13 years for us to get a conclusion.
yeah, we won't get one until 2035 or whatever the hell. So
well, I better sell my kidney to buy all the light novels then.
I mean, are they that expensive? Steven, do you know if they're that expensive?
Okay, the Suzumiya ones were $15 a piece, and that was for 11 of the fuckers. So
Okay. So
Oh.
might be a challenge if you want to get some more Full Metal Panic material. So anyway, welcome back to the Off the Balcony podcast. Before we get started into the content, we got a big episode planned for today because we've seen and done a lot of stuff, and we got a lot of stuff coming up. But real quick, I just wanted to give a shout out to a few stores who have decided to allow us to start advertising our podcast in their stores. These are stores, various like kind of shops like comic book shops, record stores, kind of tabletop role-playing game shops that have allowed us to advertise in their stores in the Chicago area. So we greatly appreciate your patronage. I want to give a shout out to the Exchange, which is officially a record store, even though you can buy all sorts of cool stuff in there like video games, DVDs, VHS, all that sort of stuff. Reckless Records is another kind of same deal, mainly a record store, but from what I understand, you can buy all sorts of stuff there. And Spellbound Games, which is a tabletop role-playing shop and kind of hangout place where you can go and do your D&D kind of campaign. So from everyone at the Off the Balcony podcast, we want to say thank you very much for allowing us to advertise in your stores. You're doing more help than you possibly could know. So if we want to say thank you, let's go ahead and do that.
Thank you, shops I personally haven't been to.
Thank you very much, and if you ever want to sponsor us, it's...
yeah, I wouldn't say, but they're helping us advertise. I think.
Yeah, they're helping us advertise. Jan says thank you.
Wade was able to put our business cards in their shops.
Yeah, that's basically it. But we greatly appreciate Steven, don't we appreciate?
Yeah, we really appreciate it, man. This peanut butter whiskey's hitting a lot faster than I thought it would.
Okay, well there we go. So that's all I wanted to say. Sort of on a serious note.
And I guess as long as we're doing this type of topic now, I guess I'll do my housekeeping at the front of the show.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Car updates. There isn't a pin. So, back to square one with trying to undo the throttle connection there.
Great, I can't wait to bust my knuckles over that one.
Yeah. It just requires a weird tool and probably like an hour and a half of WD-40. So we'll get to that. And other news, if you'd like to help us out, I will have the fundraiser down in the description below. If you guys don't like GoFundMe, please email us at offthebalcony21@gmail.com to let me know if you have any reservations donating that way. I can point you towards other ways of fundraising efforts, and then you can just contact me with that. Also, because we have our Midwest stuff coming up, I believe that we would also like, if you guys want to throw panel ideas that you guys would think we would like to look at, go ahead and do the same thing, offthebalcony21@gmail.com, and we will look it over, discuss it amongst the group, and see if it has legs.
Yes, absolutely. Our door is always open for panel ideas, podcast topic ideas. You know, Steven already gave you the contact info. Just hit us up with some ideas. I mean, hell, just leave your idea in the comments. We check comments pretty regularly. Whenever they pop up, we kind of get we kind of throw a little party because yay, someone engaged with us, you know.
Yeah, I usually check that YouTube Studio app thing like once a day.
So real quick,
whenever I remember it exists.
Right.
Yeah.
So real quick, since Steven mentioned Anime Midwest, this is the last bit of housekeeping before we start shouting about shows we either liked, disliked, or feeling kind of mixed about. So we will be at Anime Midwest in Rosemont, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, and we have a full boat of panels this year, as usual. But our panels this year we are doing a couple of new panels. We are doing Out of Pocket Wrestling. That's just a compilation panel being hosted by me and Jan, where we go through various crazy moments throughout professional wrestling. We have Hannah's Love Live panel, big hit last CAD.
Saturday at 12:30.
Saturday at 12:30, and Out of Pocket Wrestling is Friday at 5:30 p.m. Come ready for a good time. Internet Insanity. That is a panel where we talk about the various weird characters that you find on the internet. All of us will be hosting that at 8:30 on Saturday night. Excuse me. Waifu Wars, big hit at Zap last January. We will be doing that at 11 o'clock on Friday night at Anime Midwest. Sonichu we will be doing at 11 o'clock on Saturday night. And then we have a pretty loaded Sunday, so we'll be doing Steven's Animusic panel, going through the various great musical hits of anime and video games, of course. We'll also be doing our mainline wrestling panel, where we talk about the history of WWE. That's always a favorite panel that me and Jan love to do. And we'll be introducing another new panel. Me and my girlfriend are actually doing a kind of couples panel about something we're really passionate about. Code Geass. If you love Code Geass, come to our panel and you can watch my girlfriend be amazing at talking about robots, and you can watch me as I show you the depths of insanity I went to get ready for this panel. So can I just say this real quick?
Go ahead.
So this is kind of the transitional stage. To get ready for this panel, I wanted to write about the alternate history, because Code Geass is an alternate history show of sorts. The world takes place in. I ended up writing 15,000 words to explain my thought process. That's like, for reference, 15,000 words is the bare minimum you need to write in order to make a master's thesis.
And the best part about that is he did that in the same amount of time that master theses
that you have to do
to get processed.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was supposed to be a fun little panel that I was doing with my girlfriend. Now it's 6 months later, and I look like a crazy, insane person.
You probably put more thought into the world building than the actual creators did.
I mean...
You're not wrong.
I mean, this kind of reminds me this one time in freshman year of high school, which... The first assignment was supposed to be, in my history class, was supposed to be a fun little, light, create your own civilization assignment. I spent about 4 pages going to every detail about my civilization, and it was it was worth 5 to 10 points. And
did you get the full 10?
Yes.
Okay, good. It was worth it.
That's all we care about.
It was worth it. Imagine being the teacher, though, reading Jan's little... Oh, they're going to write about, Candyland and stuff. The tax policy of this country was they must turn in taxes every 6 months at the top of the month, or else they get their houses burned down by King Soldier. No, I mean, that's cool. I'm glad that you got 10 points, because it's working in education myself, so often you see kids just not try. And to see a kid,
I was a kid who never tried.
Yeah, to see someone actually, go hard on an assignment that you probably came up with, it's pretty validating. So you probably made that teacher's day, I'm not going to lie. So that's pretty much the end of the housekeeping segment. Let's just talk about...
Let's go into our anime review segment.
Yep, let's go into Anime Roundup.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, yeehaw. This is more like
This is where I need a soundboard, isn't it?
have like one of those radio soundboards that just have different movie quotes, like from Dumb and Dumber.
God, if we ever do that, we're going to have to rearrange this office, because then I'd actually have to get a desktop and all that shit.
Yeah. You'd have to have one of those big like keyboard things, like from
They take up like half the table. You guys would be stuck on the other side.
Yeah, where are we gonna put our drinks, Steven? That's the most important part. That's what makes this thing go.
We're gonna have a shelf right behind where Jan is, and that's where we put our drinks.
Ooh,
and there we go.
Shelf of liquor. I like that. So
It's like
yeah.
the first one is on my list, or the Love Live.
Okay, let's talk about the stuff that's easy to talk about first.
Yeah, we're gonna read this one.
Let's talk about the stuff that didn't require me writing a few pages of notes about. Okay, so this might just be my personality about
All right.
being kind of long-winded and everything, but that's okay.
Since Hannah is the Love Live super fan of us, she can start off.
Okay, because Steven and Heather, Wade's girlfriend, hadn't seen the movies yet. Hadn't seen all of the movies yet. We had a night where we watched the Love Live School Idol Project movie and the Love Live Sunshine movie, and since I've just been waiting on an anime club day to finally watch Nijiyon, the little chibi Nijigasaki show, that finally just watched that after we watched the two movies.
You're gonna hate this, but I found that the whole series is on YouTube. Nijiyon.
Ah.
I mean, it's okay because like.
Was it subtitled?
Yeah, actually, I think it was.
Nice.
I'll have to find. I'll send you the link later, but
I didn't have to
yeah,
probably almost accidentally install malware on Jan's computer.
Oops.
Well, that's because the guy refuses to put
Well, it's because
ad blocker.
every ad blocker either like doesn't work for me or just like just makes it harder to access certain things.
Shout out to AdBlock Plus on both Firefox and Chrome, because it's the easiest thing to use in the world.
The thing is, you know what, Jan's computer pulled through on everything really that day. Which, thank you for providing your computer for that day. But yeah, I really like both Love Live movies. I like Love Live, the School Idol Project movie, far more than I like.
Yeah, because I can actually remember all of the songs from the Love Live School Idol Project movie, and
Yeah.
the only song from the Sunshine movie I can remember after the fact is Believe Again,
Which is
Saint Snow, not Aqua.
Yeah. But the thing is, Saint Snow is wall-to-wall bangers, so it's like hearing a song from them is just an automatic W.
Yeah,
you know what
like
I mean?
all three of their songs are great, which that's kind of criminal that it's only
Imagine
like 3 songs.
only having 3 songs and being better than an entire library of other songs.
yeah, being more memorable. But with the School Idol Project movie, yeah, I liked all the music in it. Like, I really liked the music where Nico, Nozomi, and Ellie kind of went.
Question mark Heartbeat's the name of the song.
Okay, and that's the one where Nico kind of goes buck wild and there's a scene in that where there's 2 famous meme scenes in that. The first is the Nozomi spin.
Yeah.
Where
Nozo spin.
Yeah, Nozo spin.
Yeah. It's actually funny when they did live performances of all the songs from the movie at Muse's final concert, and she did the spin in real life.
Oh, nice.
Yay! But let's be real here. Like, I'd say I liked both movies, but I think they had the exact same problem. Like, both movies were about going to exotic locations. The first one was
Oh yeah, so exotic New York City is.
Well,
for
exotic.
Japanese people.
Yeah,
for Japanese
exotic
people.
for them. Yes, Jan's right. Go on.
Yeah, but like the best part of both of those movies were when they were in the exotic locations, and it's a shame that it wasn't the whole thing. Like it wasn't like Muse Takes Manhattan or like.
We did get Honoka Lost in New York.
Yeah, we got. They really Home Alone 2 did. So
I like my favorite part was the scene where Donald Trump gives directions to Honoka. That was the best scene.
My favorite scene is when Tim Curry and Rob Schneider have to serve Honoka pizza. A pizza. Seriously, Home Alone 2, Tim Curry in that movie is so out of pocket.
I
It's
mean,
great.
if Tim Curry was actually in the first Love Life movie, he would intentionally give Hanayo bread instead of rice.
Here's some bread for you, my dear. He just gives that devil grin that he would get. That big Cheshire cat
Hanayo
smile.
internal screaming.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. The thing that always makes me laugh from that movie is Hanayo just having a breakdown. Hanayo's one of my favorite characters, by the way. But Hanayo breaking down at the fact that she's being served bread. And she actually says that she likes the bread, but that she loves rice. And I'm like...
rice is the main staple, not bread.
It's like, Hanayo, you are in New York City. There are 1,000,001 places that you could go to get rice.
You can find a Chinese restaurant on any corner.
I mean, but let's be real here. It's more like an American tourist landing in somewhere, I don't know, Portugal and ordering Burger King.
You'll hear about that at Midwest if you go to our Internet Insanity panel.
Details later.
Details a lot
It's
later.
like that. It's like that church sign. Too hot to change the sign. Sin bad, Jesus good. Details inside. Anyway, so yeah, I really like the movie. Actually, here's the funny thing. I love, since we were talking about Home Alone 2, I love that Umi is more upset about losing Honoka than Kevin McAllister's mom was about losing Kevin. It's like, come on, man. Umi isn't even my favorite character. Is at the bottom of my list for Love Live characters, and she still shelled out more emotion than you. I mean, I'm not knocking that movie, by the way, but anyway, so real quick about Umi. I don't know how the house here feels about Umi, but Umi's my least favorite school idol project.
Honestly,
girl.
same.
I mean, there's just not... I mean, she's not bad, and the voice actress is really good at her job, and really good singer, really good actress. It's just... I don't
There's
get
just
Umi.
basically nothing to Umi.
Yeah, Umi's just kind of there. Like, she fades in the background.
She's just there to fulfill the role of the serious one.
Yeah. But they don't... You could still have a character that's the serious one.
And still have them be good.
And still make them interesting. Yes, absolutely.
Can still actually give them character development.
But let's talk about what I did. What I think me and Wade think is like the most interesting concept in that movie, like that one mysterious singer that Honoka encounters a lot that is implied to be an older version of herself, like...
Yeah, so a real quick spoiler warning. What Jan described is indeed correct. That Honoka basically runs into... It's never confirmed outright, but it's basically like...
Yeah, that's at least what most people agree upon.
That Honoka ran into a future version of herself. I really like those scenes. I thought the two versions of themselves, you know, depending on how you see it, really played well off of each other.
It's representing Honoka's internal struggle about, like should Muse really end it?
Yeah, and I think around that time the movie came out. Isn't that when Muse disbanded?
Their contracts had ended.
Yeah. Which is sad because I've gone on record with these guys saying before that of the Love Live groups, like of the different Love Live shows and whatnot, I think School Idol Project had the best band. Had the best group. Everyone sort of
personally for me, I got into Love Live like July 2015, and Muse broke up March 2016. So just for me, it felt like, damn it, I just got obsessed with this now.
And I just got here.
and then you had to fall back on Aquars, which I like Aquars.
I just kind of feel like I wasn't really as impressed with their anime.
I wasn't either, but I mean, I still give it a B tier. But
I mean, do you guys want to talk about?
And musically, I feel like a lot of Aqua songs just kind of sound samey.
Yeah,
and there are a few exceptions, but
yeah, I think Ruby's got some good songs, and so does and Yoshiko has.
I mean,
great
like a lot of the full group songs though
Yeah.
can sound pretty samey.
You guys want to talk a bit about like Love Live Roman Holiday or?
Yes, that's actually a good point. We'll talk about the Aquars movie.
Yeah, now I can complain about that.
Go for it.
Love Live Sunshine movie just kind of feels like 4 different stories just kind of mishmashed into one.
And
Okay,
none of them are
I was deep into the fan base when this movie was just getting advertised, so before it even came out, and all of the commercials and all of the promotional material was just Aqua's in Italy, and they're only in Italy for like half an hour.
Yeah, and I'll be honest.
And a lot of the, and in the commercial it has that scene of Yo talking to who we think is a boy, kind of looks like a boy, but it's really her female cousin that just follows them to Italy for some reason.
Yeah.
Because she can speak Italian and they can't.
Yeah, they just create that for some reason.
I mean,
and so it's pretty much just a lot of Japanese fans probably threatening to kill themselves if Yo canonically got a boyfriend.
Okay, how much you want to bet they did that just to draw in more, like, attention to...
I'm betting on it.
For the Sunshine... Because, like, with the way the Japanese fandom is with Love Live, is, like, that's the perfect play to get, like...
Oh, yeah, another... I could say, like, Tomoyo Kurosawa, the voice of that cousin girl, also just got married recently, so we can add that to the list of Love Live voice actresses that have gotten married now.
Aw, that's awesome. And congratulations to Tomoyo Kurosawa.
It's now like the 4th one now, I think.
Okay, well,
4th or 5th, I forget if...
Japan,
I think one of the Arise ones did. So.
Japan, if you can hear me right now, you leave that lady alone, okay? She doesn't need any more weirdos.
Actually, speaking of Rome and holiday, actually when I visited Rome back in 2017, which that could be itself a podcast episode if I'm perfectly honest, I actually saw where the movie scenes of the movie Roman Holiday were filmed, and apparently that area of Rome is notorious for being a place where, like, people who had a long night of drinking just end up sleeping for a bit, which
Is that too much to ask? I want to sleep on the fucking curb!
Which actually the professor that was guiding us through that tour, like, made a joke about it, like, you know, a lot of these people must have went on dates with Bill Cosby.
Oh! That's the professor said that?
Yes.
Was the professor Italian?
No, he was American.
Oh, okay, because that would have made more sense if it was an Italian professor who said that. But the fact that it was American, okay, that's kind of interesting. But anyway, I just wanted to say that with the Love Live movie, the Rome stuff was fun. But honestly, even after rewatching it a third time, I can't recall really what happens in that movie. Like, with the School Idol Project movie, I know it, you know, like, I can tell you pretty much everything that happens in it. But, like, with the Awkward movie, it's so disconnected that I can't really, like, form an idea of what that movie actually looks like in my head.
Yeah, I think it's the beginning where it's like they see the new shitty school that the first and second years, which I guess are now second and third years, are gonna have to transfer to that their
like
school
cabin in the woods or whatever the hell.
Yeah, school that's literally falling apart.
And
then they try to get more club funding money, I guess, by trying to hold a performance with the 6 of them, and suddenly there's like, my God, we can't do shit without the third years, even though the best version of Aqua's was just the second and first years.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the funniest shit about the.
They tried to force the 30s years to actually.
The Sunshine. For those of you who haven't seen Love Live Sunshine, so every Love Live group has like 9 members to it, and they're usually split between first years, second years, and third years.
Yeah, like 3 of each.
Yeah. And the thing is, usually you have like a wide diversity of first, you got a few first years, you got a few second years. For Awkwards, the first years are awesome. The second years are pretty good. I mean, there's Yo there, and I like Chica, and Rico is dull as dishwater, but the third years, are
I mean,
Posting cringe.
like Mari is kind of the only one that has a personality.
any kind of personality. And even then, the thing is, they were trying to force the third years even during the show because they kept like setting up all this backstory, like, oh, they got a path. It's like I don't want to speak for all y'all, but I just did not give a shit. You know, it's like, no, go back to Ruby because I like Ruby. I like
Put Ruby back.
Yeah. Actually, the funny thing, what I said to you was that the best stuff they did with Daya was the stuff that they did with Ruby, her and Ruby. And
it's
Ruby
pretty much
did,
the best reason for Daya to exist.
Is Ruby.
Yeah.
And in that arc, Ruby does 90% of the work of like making that arc happen. It's kind of like that scene, like, hey, you know, you can carry some of this stuff. but yeah, the Awkward movie, it's got some good stuff. It's, you know, it's got a few good, it's got a good song, you know, Believe Again by Saint Snow. But Saint Snow never misses.
Yeah. Then Aqua tries to get more club funding and they fail because they can't do shit without the third years. And then Mari's mom tells them to go to Italy to find the third years, which they go to Italy and find Mari, and then Mari performs a little song and dance number to get her mom to stop an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
And then they leave Italy and then try to help Leah from Saint Snow try to get over Saint Snow not being a thing anymore now that her sister's graduated.
And in doing so, just reunite Saint Snow kind of randomly, but I didn't care
which
because
gets us the best song.
Yeah, it gives us Believe Again, so I didn't really care at that point. So yeah, the School Idol Project movie I give a strong A tier to. The Awkward movie I give like a B tier to.
Yeah, generally I did the same thing.
And then at the very end of the Love Live Sunshine movie, there's it's like final number where it's supposed to be the first and second years, like, hey, the new second and third years are doing their big song about them finally being able to perform as just them. And then in the second verse, they bring the third years in, which that's
completely defeats the purpose of the song. So yeah, but that wasn't the only Love Live thing that we watched that night.
And Nijiyon,
which for a TV show was surprisingly pretty packed with a lot of good like character moments.
Yeah, I like how it wasn't just use harem. They actually interacted with each other.
Mm-hmm. Actually, a couple of my thoughts is, one, I feel like Mia's short was probably the best of the bunch. So.
Which one? Mia was in there a lot.
Yeah, Mia. Are you talking about the horror movie?
Yes.
That was a lot of fun because I just love the fact that in this chibi short, of course, the white blonde American girl is the one that gets thrown into the horror movie.
and also, I will say like Setsuna, which I would say she probably sings my favorite song of the Nijiyon cast, like, you know. Had a good send-off for her original voice actress who had to retire because of health issues from the role, so...
Yeah, Tomori Kusunoki had to step out of Love Live. Like, she officially retired from Love Live at the end of March because she has hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So.
Yeah, which I looked up is, like, you just can't do what being, like, an on-stage performer requires of you and still live with that for too long, you know?
Yeah, so...
I mean, so it was like, you gotta do this for your health, but still very sad.
Not an easy decision to make.
Of course, but it was a very good send-off for Setsuna.
Yeah,
she had some good moments in that.
Yeah, but Setsuna's new voice actress, Koko Hayashi, is killing it live, so...
Yeah, so it's...
Good for her.
It's good that they were able to make that seamless transition. I want to say... My favorite Nijiyon episode, 2 words. Rina sweep.
Yeah. Rina wins the little sister contest.
Yeah, just by being, you-chan, big sis.
Yeah. Just having the eyes.
Yeah, the big, like...
And the Rina-chan board.
Yeah, and, oh, Rina's so cute! And just wins the heart of
Everyone.
Yeah, including Kasumi, who was just trying hard to win. Kasumi is the Shooter McGavin of Nijigasaki.
That's it. Yeah.
She's the gremlin, and that's why she's in my top 3.
She's a good character. I do like Kasumi a lot. So I guess that's my favorite short. Just the fact that Rina, who's my best girl from Nijigasaki, won a contest that she could win in her sleep, but it was still really cute to see. Steven, what about you?
Yeah, I like the horror movie Mia just because it's the blonde.
Yeah, that was
a
fun.
blonde American girl getting set into Japanese horror.
Getting hunted by a slasher. Who would have no? Or like they
Haunted by Ayumu, which that would scare anybody.
You know what? Ayumu would be a good new if they want to do a female remake of Halloween with like a female Michael Myers. They might as well just call Ayumu.
It's apparently one of my favorite facts about Nijigasaki season 1. So that I think it was Ayumu's voice actress that said it in an interview recently. Is that apparently during that one classic yandere Ayumu moment in season 1, apparently the original soundtrack that they were going to use for that scene actually had scary sounding violins in it, but it's like they decided to cut it out at the last minute and just replace it with something else.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, so
they should have kept Psychopath Ayumu, if you ask me.
I mean,
apparently one of the big conflicts in the game around the part where Shioriko joins in the original game's story, which ripped to Love Live School Idol Festival All-Stars, that just got shut down yesterday.
Rip.
The big conflict that eventually gets Shioriko to join the club is that Ayumu quits because Yu isn't paying enough attention to her.
I know, that really pissed me off in the show. And the thing is, it's like, it's not a show that really requires the orange-haired protagonist. I mean, Ayumu's not really the protagonist, but the orange-haired girl to really be in it that much, because Nijigasaki is so packed with just really, like, there's a different type of character for everyone.
Yeah, there are like 3 different characters in that could be best girl for me.
Yeah.
And Kanata's still my favorite because she's literally me. Sleepy.
Narcoleptic.
Speaking of which, before we move on, Hannah, do you want to talk about your favorite Nijiyon short?
Well, I have 2. I think the episode with Mia and Emma is the most wholesome to me.
Okay. Yeah, that was a really cute one where they're just kind of singing together.
Yeah, and then, so, Kanata, Shizuku, and Shizuku's dog and Kanata's sister at the beach.
That was a cute one.
2 of my best girls in it.
Yeah. And Emma was in the other one with Mia, so that was probably,
the Mia and Emma.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Emma is like probably 4th or 5th best girl.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, other than Ayumu, if you said any one of those Nijigasaki girls was your best girl, I'd completely get it. Shioriko and Karin, I'd be kind of like, I wouldn't be like weirded out or anything. It's just like, oh, that's kind of a odd choice. But
Karin has some of my best songs, but just as a character, she doesn't really do much.
Karin's voice actress is a good singer. I mean, they're all good singers. It's just
and her voice actress is forklift certified.
Is she really?
Yeah, because apparently she was at a trade school before she decided to become an idol.
Oh, nice. So that's all we had to. That's pretty much all we had to say about the Love Life fair of that we saw today. The Nijiyon, very, very cute. So we put that probably in B tier. And with that, I guess we will move on from Love Live for the time being.
Let's go to your boy Kongming.
Okay.
I feel like that would be the next easiest one from what you guys have told me.
Yeah,
that was Wade's girlfriend Heather's pick.
Yeah, I really liked the show. It was pretty funny. It kind of, so for anyone who hasn't seen the show,
it's about Kongming, it's like somebody that played an important role in the
Three
Kingdoms in Japan.
He was a chancellor of like an ancient Chinese state during this period.
I think he worked under Lu Bu. I think.
One
of the Lus.
Liu Bei. I know it's like you could get tangled up in all these different names. But yeah, he was a real historical figure who was a chancellor for one of the warlord states in China during the
Three Kingdoms era.
Yeah, during the Three Kingdoms era. Gets transported at the end of his life, gets reincarnated, and sent to modern era Japan, and essentially becomes this struggling artist, record producer.
Yeah. Decides to help an up-and-coming EDM singer become popular.
Yeah. And it's basically about the hijinks of that for like the first half, and then weirdly in the second half it kind of becomes more of a straightforward kind of music drama in a way. I mean, music comedy drama. I mean,
probably
probably
a lot better music drama than that one HBO show everybody's clowning on now.
What HBO?
I think it's actually called The Idol.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know shit about it. I just know people are clowning on it.
I haven't really seen it, but yeah, it was a cute show. Had a lot of good funny moments.
Yeah, I mean,
some really good songs actually.
Yeah, my thoughts are similar to Wade's. Like, they didn't overuse the concept of like, an ancient Chinese chancellor that was a master strategist in his day, slowly becoming a pop idol like agent and using his skills that he learned as being a warlord's chancellor as
they're actually somehow able to make it work without it becoming super overbearing.
Yeah. It's actually really impressive writing in that way. Thank you for saying that, Anna. But I mean, it's a good show. Like it's fun if you just want to kill 4 hours. Listening to some good music, having a few good laughs. Your Boi Kongming is something that you'd like. I give it probably a high B, maybe low A tier.
Actually,
it was a solid B tier for me.
Same, but I think this convinced me that y'all remember that one episode of South Park where they make fun of Family Guy and like the way how, according to that episode, that Family Guy jokes are written like with a porpoise randomly choosing balls or whatnot.
Manatees, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, I feel like this is a lot of anime, including this show, gets produced that way, that they have random words like put on balls and manatees just choose them. I can just imagine Warring States period ball, pop idols.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but at least they were able to do something kind of interesting with the idea. So yeah, I'm glad I got shown it. I'm glad I watched it. So that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Like, there's not really a lot to say about it. I mean, we could probably go more in depth if we were doing like an official video essay, but that's not exactly what we're doing. So, yeah, I think we'll just leave it there. Thumbs up for your Boi Kongming.
Alright, now let's go ahead and move into real life because Jan and Hannah went to Gamescom this past weekend.
Oh yeah,
Illinois GameCon is
Yeah,
a local
tell me
convention
about
that
that,
happens it's been happening for a few years, and we mostly went to it this year for Iron Spirit because they did a little thing there where they had a real life Super Smash Bros.
Yeah, let me explain. Like, it started off with like a few matches of like
there was Link versus Solid Snake,
and let's talk about my favorite of the bunch. It was
Sonic and Pikachu.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
Which Sonic was played by our boy 12 Gauge.
Which is just makes it.
He showed up in like the giant furry Sonic suit, and he wrestled in that suit.
Here's the thing: if I had gone to that GameCon and if I had dressed as Christian, I would have gotten a photo with both, especially Gage, but with both those wrestlers.
I mean, I was shouting out Sonichu quotes.
Yeah, you were shouting Sonichu lines, and I was just cringing because there was a small child right behind you.
Hey, what are the chances of a small child knowing about Sonichu? Like,
very small, but just the principle of the matter.
Well, I mean, if the two girls from Anime Zing 2020 are out there, we're very sorry. Because some mom brought her two kids to, this is a funny little aside, some mom brought her two kids to watch us do Sonichu back at Anime Zing 2020, and I don't know why they were there. My only thought was that maybe they thought that
they didn't know.
Yeah, they just... I can't really explain it. It's just...
I mean, Sonichu is like one of those, like, I mean, again, we've talked about Sonic
I mean,
Jewel.
if you just heard the name and didn't know any context, you'd probably think it was something more innocent than it was.
Yes, absolutely. So you guys had fun at the Games Expo, basically.
Yeah, I just wandered the vendors hall for a bit, and it didn't seem like there was really anything I'd really be that interested in. So we kind of left about like an hour after the show.
Yeah, I mean, we bought a few prints, including this one neat little comic. If I had it with me, I would make a shout out to the artist. But the thing is that does seem like a neat art. The comic has some neat art. It's a self-published by this one man whose inspirations are Berserk, Final Fantasy, and
Cool.
So he's a man of culture.
Yes, awesome.
They also got coasters there.
Oh, yep.
Right. I saw those.
Yeah, I got some coasters because we've been saying we needed those for a while.
Right. Before we move on from this, who exactly was on the card for the show?
They didn't announce anyone's names, just their
No,
characters.
I meant who was actually there.
Yep. I mean, I didn't really recognize a ton of the people there besides. I mean, I do know that Link from the first round is played by that guy that usually wears like the ISU jumpsuit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Donkey Kong was, I think, played by
one of the guys from 815, the kind of long-haired guy.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, the third round was Donkey Kong and Yoshi, and then the main event one was Mario and.
And Mario was played by by the hometown hero CJ.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, it was Mario and Wario was played by Ryan Matthews, the pretty boy guy.
Nice. Okay.
Second best man to ever play Wario, right behind Elon Musk.
and then at the very final round, they decided to just have all of them get in the ring, and Yoshi ended up taking the main belt.
Oh, nice. They did a whole, like, big Hell in a Cell type deal. That's awesome.
More like a Royal Rumble, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's great. I wish I had been at that show, but, duty calls helping my parents move.
I had a thing with some family about an hour early before that, so I couldn't go.
Yeah, but I'm glad that you two had fun, and it sounds like a really fun day out. So with that...
So let's go back to screens, and let's go into Full Metal Panic.
Okay.
We just watched that today, so...
So, Jan, as you know, we finished the Full Metal Panic franchise. Why don't you give your candid thoughts about the last season of Full Metal Panic?
Everything was going well for it. Like, it kind of moved... If anyone knows anything about the Full Metal Panic franchise, it was kind of one part mech action stuff and one part high school comedy stuff. They kind of abandoned the whole high school comedy stuff, which actually worked in its favor because it was just...
it was a good...
Yeah, it was an all-out war this season. Like, there was action that just literally and metaphorically blew your mind away, and like...
Cheatery got kidnapped by a twink.
Yes, and there was there was blood, there was gore, there was
much more bloody than any of the other three.
There was maneuvering, there was plot twists, characters that were once established as very trustworthy turned out to be snakes in the grass, and
a lot of good. There was a lot of good writing this season,
and then it ended on a fucking cliffhanger.
Yeah, and
we'll probably have to wait another 13 years to get the conclusion to that.
What we're kind of speculating is because we found out that the studio that had made this season originally got bought out by Sunrise in 2019, which is a year after the show came out. So what we're kind of
Sunrise is probably focusing on pumping out more Love Live and that one Gundam show that's out right now.
Yeah. So it's probable that it's sitting somewhere in a vault in Sunrise Studios right now. The season 2 script of Full Metal Panic Invisible
We'll
Victory.
get to that eventually.
Yeah, and they're just gonna... we'll circle back to it of the anime industry. But I really gotta sing this show's praises because I really like the Full Metal Panic series. I don't think the concept of of a soldier pretending to be a high schooler is really all that hard to work with. I think you can do a lot of fun stuff. but I think they kind of exhausted the comedic
Yeah.
opportunities of what you could do with this concept.
With Fumofu, we got a lot of the...
Yeah. I think
Fumofu.
season 2 was kind of the end of that. And then with season 3 and season 4, they've been trying to shift it back to doing more serious kind of stuff with that, which I respect. Season 3, I think, was a misstep, but I see what they were trying to do with the concept. Season 4, I think they knock it out of the park.
Yeah, it's
The
like
only
one of the only seasons where I didn't end up getting bored of the war stuff.
Yeah. The war stuff, is the entire show. And it goes down all these different routes. Like Jan was talking about, their different plot twists, great characters, some shocking character deaths. I won't spoil what they are, but shocking character deaths, a lot of different plot twists, great action, really gory action, some great villains. It's just a great show.
And also, they finally, well, I won't say tied a knot, but the romance that was being hinted at for all these seasons finally was made official. And the moment they made it official, they made it clear. We'll see
you in season 2. There never was a season 2.
Yeah, I think there's a thing in the end credits that we hope to see you again soon.
Well, we would love to see you again too.
We hope.
Just I don't know, make the second season, or I guess the second half of this season, so we can do this and go home already.
Come on, the mangaka was did nothing wrong, so you might as well do it.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed the show. I won't speak over anyone else, but I gave it a fairly low S tier because I thought it was I think it's the best that Full Metal Panic has ever been. I'm just disappointed that we don't get to see this story played out in full.
I'm of the same opinion.
Okay. So, any standout moments for you?
You guys covered it pretty well.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I will say the one of the primary villains of the season, a man named
the white-haired guy, or
no, it's like Kanama or
Kurama.
Kurama, yeah, Kurama. The thing about Kurama is this villain, great villain by the way, and voiced brilliantly by whoever voices him.
I think it was Chris Sabat.
Okay, Chris Sabat. Great performance by Chris Sabat. The thing is, he looks like Sho Tucker cosplaying as Albert Wesker from the Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
So you'll just have to get used to that. But yeah, great villain, great performance all around. Hannah, do you have any thoughts on Full Metal Panic before we move on?
No, I think we've got it covered.
Okay.
Alright, now we move on to the last anime not the last, but the one anime that made Wade go down a rabbit hole of feelings. We're gonna
3 pages.
3 pages. Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright, we are going to move on to the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya and the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. This was your boy's pick, and I'm like, well, I've been wanting to show these guys for a little bit, might as well do that.
You made us watch all the episodes of The Endless Eight.
I will start making fun of Steins Gate again if you keep going down this path.
Yeah, Steven, why don't you talk a bit about what this show is actually about?
Okay, so, I know this show's 15-ish minute, 15 years old, so I can almost drive. But so Keona's our main protagonist in this one, and he just goes. He's a freshman, first year in high school. Happens to get seated in front of this girl named Haruhi, who is a sleeping god in the short version that I can say, and she wants to hang out with time travelers, espers, and aliens. She also said dimensional sliders, but that never really comes up. Yeah, so adventures ensue. Goes from really interesting stories into some extra shenanigans. At first, it starts out setting up the club, which is the SOS Brigade. It just starts out by overtaking the literature club, and making the computer club guys feel the most uncomfortable in their life.
I remember that. Where didn't like he had like one of them fall on top of her.
Framed as sexual harassment. Framed as sexual assault.
Yeah, and was basically like, "I'll blackmail you," and I was like, "Wow, this took a turn." That was episode 2, right?
Yeah, that was episode 2.
This is from a different time.
Yeah, you got so. Yeah. Don't worry. Anyway. So yeah, that's where the show starts. But I don't know if Steve...
But then we get to episode 3.
Yeah.
Because episode 1 is the setup. Episode 2 is getting a computer by framing sexual harassment. And Haruhi using the leverage as she's a girl and can't say anything wrong and just say the entire club attacked her when she had 15 other fucking witnesses to say the opposite. But then we get to episode 3, where things start to go sideways.
Shit, you got that right.
We go from a nice school club slice of life stuff to
when she said she wanted to meet aliens, time travelers, and espers. Well,
in that order,
we see the alien.
In that order, we get introduced to them.
Yeah, in that order.
And then the rest of the show is just hijinks to make sure that, because I think
because
if
Haruhi gets bored or angry, she will destroy the world. So Kyon and the gang just have to make sure she's happy.
Yeah.
Happy and entertained.
Yeah, sounds like part of my job, but...
But the best part is everyone has their role. You know, Nagato is the alien, you got Koizumi who's the Esper, you have Mikuru who is the time traveler, and you have Kyon who's the voice of reason.
Yeah.
I mean, here's my thought on the series. Like, I think it's kind of, in a way, a metaphor for what it's like to be a teenager at the most extreme. Like, you know, when you're that age, like, you know, between, like, 15 and 17, you always just want excitement, something new, and, like, you know, with Haruhi, like, you know, even if she's not trying to seek out the abnormal, she does have this yearning for more adventure, or to make something more exciting, or, like, you know, like, just add a little spice to life, like, you know.
Yeah, no, I saw that in the show. I'll say this, folks, with Haruhi Suzumiya, both the show and the movie, because Steven...
Strap in.
We watched both the show...
28-episode run of the show.
And the 3-hour movie, or almost 3-hour movie. I'll say this. I was not as clued into this show as probably some other folks were. I mean, I knew it existed, but I had no idea really what the show was about. Like, I heard the name and everything, but...
I mean, it was a show I always felt like I needed to watch sometime, but the Endless Eight scared me off.
Yeah, I didn't even really know about the... if I had heard the name Endless Eight, I didn't really know, like, really what that even meant at the time. And I freely admit to feeling a bit left out as far as, like, what the hype around Haruhi Suzumiya was, because when it was popular, I wasn't really into anime, and then I started getting into anime, and kind of the fandom for it had sort of already dried up by that point. But when I watched it, I felt like so many different mixed emotions about the show, and I'll go through some of the... I'll try to be as fair and balanced as possible and jump in anytime you guys want to. So some positives I'll say about the show. Sort of what Jan was saying, I think it is a good deconstruction of kind of how teenagers sort of perceive the world, how high schoolers perceive the world. There's something known as, like, the personal fable that, you know, a lot of people... when they're young, sort of think of that they're the most special person ever.
Every teenager thinks they have main character syndrome.
Yes, exactly. Like, that they think they're, you know, Luke Skywalker or Harry Potter. I think this show does kind of a good deconstruction of that. I love that this show is one that refuses to be defined. Like, it's not really one that you can slot into any sort of genre. I mean, you can as sort of like a marketing tool, but I don't think it strictly fits into one genre.
I mean, sometimes it's high school slice of life comedy, and sometimes it's a cosmic horror story.
Yeah. And that's another thing. I really liked the fact that this show sort of took the sort of the latently magical teenage girl in high school thing and took it to sort of its logical conclusion. So basically, what I'm talking about, you got shows like Clanad and Canon, which were also made by KyoAni, that were really big at the time. Sort of dealt with these sort of latently magical high school girls, and I like that this show sort of took that idea and said, well, what if a high school girl actually was magical but didn't really realize it? Like, what would that be like? And I appreciate that they tried on that.
It's a girl that causes problems in both real life and in the spiritual realm.
Yeah. I like the time travel aspect of the movie, because I'm a big fan of time travel shows.
And a little bit in the show, too.
Yeah.
Because it was the same thing.
To kind of go back a little bit, this whole show felt like a mashup of like a Studio Key show, like, something like Clanad or Canon. Especially Canon is what it reminded me of. Even though Clanad is kind of more of the famous one. It reminded me of a mashup of that and something really kind of out there, like Serial Experiments Lane or Evangelion, especially the latter half of Evangelion, or even something like Madoka Magica and Madoka Rebellion, which is the movie that's attached to Madoka Magica. I think the movie is a very good and succinct adaptation of an arc. I mean,
succinct is a choice of a word there.
Well, I mean, as succinct as you could get with this kind of material.
Yeah.
The fact that they were able to pack it in just under 3 hours, I appreciate. I do think the movie is better than the show, but those are pretty much my main sort of like strictly positive thoughts. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff to say about this show, but those are kind of the big ones that are sort of jumping out at me. And the characters are pretty good too. Like, I like all the characters.
Yeah.
Like, there's no real character that becomes wholly unlikable. It's just, well, I'll get into it later, but like, all the characters are good, and I don't think that you'll find one that you really like sort of write off and say, wow, I hate that character.
Yeah, I think the show does really well, just like actually humanizing the entire cast of 5
that
they have.
Yeah, I agree. And for, I don't know, you guys, if you guys want to jump in and talk a bit about Haruhi, please feel free to do so.
I feel like it's kind of hard to pick best girl.
Okay, so between Nagato, Asahina, and Haruhi?
Asahina.
Asahina or Nagato.
Okay, Asahina or Nagato. Yeah.
I mean, there's 2 that are best girl.
Okay, so Nagato and Asahina.
Yeah, Haruhi is Haruhi, and
I mean, Haruhi is like either chaotic neutral or neutral evil, depending on how you want to look at it.
I'd say chaotic neutral, because she's never, at least in the show, and I'm only focusing on the show and the movie because it's their job to convey this material, is never really aware of what she really is.
even when Kyon tells her what she really is, she just doesn't believe him.
Yeah, which, like, duh. I mean, who would believe...
Who would actually believe that you are a sleeping god and that you have the power to fuck with reality?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy no matter how you slice it, but...
Yeah.
But, do you want me to keep going on with...
How long is this?
I mean...
We're just about an hour, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can probably go on with, you can go on, just to keep it moving a little bit.
Okay, so I do have some negatives, and this is just me, by the way. I mean, if anyone else wants to give sort of their negatives, feel free to do so. I think that a compliment of, like, kind of one of those things where it's also a bug and a feature, is that in its quest to kind of be undefined, the show just never really develops an identity for itself, and so it kind of, a lot of the plot points are sort of wishy-washy and are never really capitalized on or paid off in any sort of meaningful way if they're paid off at all.
And if I can say something on that,
Yeah,
most of
go
that
for
is
it.
really due to the fact that there are 12 volumes of light novels, and a lot of things in like because the show covers like the first 3 light novels, and then the disappearance is its own novel. But they never ever you never see the payoff because a lot of the payoff is for stuff that happens later down the line. Like I guess I'll go ahead, and the easiest example is going to be the movie. So in the movie, they I'm going to spoil this movie, even though the movie's been out for a decade and change. But I do highly suggest watching it. There's a segment at the end where some more time travel shenanigans happen, and the fact that it's set up that Keon goes back in because he goes what. So this is when he does disappearance, it's the second time he goes back in time to Tanabata. But it's implied, and then goes back to the day that everything changed. There's an implied second time that this happens, that he goes back and changes everything for the day that everything changed because Keon got the blade through the back.
And
Yeah.
stabby stab.
Yeah.
My boy got stabbed.
So,
But
oh god.
it's pretty much just said that he does it again. He does go back in time, and the movie just sets up everything for it to go on to the next light novel story points. But because of how everything happened back in the day, and with Suzumiya's Japanese voice actor pretty much just being Madonna
Just
on
look up
heroin.
Aya Hirano scandal.
Yeah, ever since that kind of happened, it kind of sunk it. We never get the payoff. So your payoff is either you read the manga after disappearance, or you read the light novels after disappearance, and that's it.
Okay.
There's nothing else that can be said.
So I appreciate that explanation, and I think it makes, good sense. Here's my thing. For me, it is a movie or a show's job to make this material digestible to its audience. Like, I think a showrunner or a movie director has to think, like, okay, let's just imagine that the general population, like, just doesn't have access to the story that I'm trying to tell. And I think they should adapt it that way. It's like, if you've never read Lord of the Rings before, you can watch the Lord of the Rings movies and you immediately know what the story is about. You don't really have to do any extra reading. The extra reading is there as sort of a treat. I think that with what the show and the movie were doing for Haruhi Suzumiya, they were kind of counting their chickens before they hatched. Like, I think they were a little too faithful to the material because, I think they were trying to shoot for something that was way bigger than they were.
It sounded like they wanted to actually get the entire series done.
Oh, I have no doubt of that. It's just
but because of people being people, shit went downhill.
yeah, and that sucks that got. But I feel like even just to be on the safe side, you should adapt the material in a way where you have to treat the anime as being like the authority.
Well,
you can't just use the books. You adapt the books, but you got to make them stand on their own.
Yeah,
as their own.
I'd say, like, to use an example, like the recent adaptation of the book All Quiet on the Western Front, it's more important to embrace the spirit of the source material than the exact letter of it. Like,
Yeah. As long as you're getting, like, down the basics and you're not, like, betraying the material, which, by the way, I don't think that...
No, they didn't betray the
Yeah,
material.
I don't think... That's the thing. I think they were actually a little too faithful to it for...
Kind of ironic for the times we're in, though.
Yeah. But, that's... So, I will say that for discrepancy between the movie and the show, I think that, the sort of kind of unevenness of the show leads to the movie not having as much impact. Like, the big choice that Keon makes in the movie, it is a powerful moment, but I think it would have been more powerful if the show had been less sort of jokey about everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, the choice he makes would have been a powerful one.
I can defend the show on this. Well, I can't really defend the show. It was the choice of how they adapted it from movie was so how they did it from light novels to manga is they changed the target audience, essentially. So the book series had its own target audience, and then what they did with the manga is they wanted to have it reach a younger audience, so they kind of dumbed down a lot of the concepts. Because I think this is supposed to be really a show for like the burgeoning psychologist. The novel is supposed to be. I haven't read the novel, but I will say something about that after we're done with the entirety of this series review. And then the manga, they kind of change it to more of like a young adult theme rather than just like the college age theme. And then for the anime adaptation, they kind of follow the same lines, like, oh, maybe we should have done this in the manga, and then they just did that in the show. Because the author had no input on the manga and the mangaka had no input on the fucking anime, that's why everything seems a little shaky from transfer from all three mediums.
Okay.
And that's probably why Wade is saying that some of the payoffs don't show up. Well, that's because of the tone changes.
Because the payoffs would have come, but in like imagine if we could like adapt this out. Instead of happening by episode 28, these payoffs would have happened by like episode 45 or 50, 55, right? Yeah. I'm willing. Okay.
I'll do an example of a payoff. Near the end of the show run, the factions of the group start to tell Keon, don't believe any one of us say. Essentially, it's because the Espers don't like the time travelers don't like the Espers, and the aliens are just like Switzerland where they're fucking neutral.
Yeah.
But the time travelers and the Espers are just trying to win over Keon, so that way the rationale can be forced the one way or the other, because the time travelers believe that Haruhi just fucked with time, and they're trying to figure out how to unfuck time. And then Espers believe that Haruhi willed it into being, so it's really like a thing of someone who's like pure science would be the time travelers, and
pure emotion would be the Espers.
Yeah, emotion would be Espers, or the better way to put it would be atheism are the time travelers, and the theists are the Espers.
Okay.
That's like the best way I can put it, which also kind of harkens back to high school, because it's like some people make the choice to be atheists back in high school. It was like what the show ran from 2006 to 2010.
Yeah.
It was back then. Yeah, that was kind of a topic in Japan. So
sure, and
the economy was shit, so they made like 3 jokes about
it. Oh yeah, but in that, with all of what you just said, I completely understand what you're saying. I'm still standing by that. I think that the people who were adapting the show should have tried to make it stand on their own more. But I understand what you're saying about the different setups. That like it's a setup. In the novel, it might be a brilliant setup, like something that was set up in say, book 1 pays off in book 6, or if you want to translate that out in anime, something that's set up in episode 10 gets paid off in episode 55.
Or if we're doing more solid, something that's set up in book 4, like the end of Disappearances, actually paid off in book 7.
Yeah. The thing is that when you're adapting stuff like that, and I've sort of seen like interviews about people who have like sort of adapted series like that and have adapted them all the way out, like the Harry Potter books are a good example of this. Like there's stuff that's set up, but it's set up in such a way like in that first Harry Potter movie, right? How what's the big guy's name?
Hagrid.
Hagrid is telling Harry about the night that his parents died, right? And Hagrid basically says, Harry, something about you stumped Voldemort that night. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, that's interesting. It's not like that has any sort of bearing on the plot. It's just like a fun backstory.
Yeah, and then it builds and builds.
Yeah, you get more and more and more. But I can understand, and I can even forgive the show, not that it really changes my rating all that much, of why they were doing these setups, because they assumed that because from what I understand, this was a pretty popular series in Japan, they would be basically sort of printing money, their own budget at this point.
They basically thought, oh yeah, this is just going to be a free money generator so we can do some extra seasons of this, that, and the other.
Things go wrong.
And then Harano decides to be an actual cunt, and then here we are.
Yeah. So I'm willing to forgive it on that point. It doesn't really change how I view the series as is, but knowing that sort of meta kind of makes you recontextualize things a little bit and not be so harsh on it, even though I'm still gonna review it as it is.
Mm-hmm.
But
so
go ahead.
Speaking of being harsh, how about we move on to everyone's favorite segment of the show called the Endless Eight?
Oh,
Fuck that.
Whoever wrote the Endless Eight, eat a bag of dicks. Like big dicks, 12-inch, 12-inch long-sized dicks. Choke on those dicks.
Reel
okay, all right.
Joke going on for too long.
Okay.
Just like the Endless Eight.
That was a good one, actually.
Yeah, that was actually funny. Good shit.
So I'll let Wade go off on the Endless Eight, and then I'll fill everyone in about how the production behind that happened.
So, with that lovely introduction by our co-hosts Jan and Hannah, the lovely couple over here, here are my thoughts on the Endless Eight. I absolutely see what they were trying to go for. They were trying to create the hell of a time loop, and what that would actually feel like, especially for the character of Nagato, who's actually experiencing
every single thing for nearly 600 years.
The one who remembers all of it.
Yeah, and can quote, what they did on time 5,622 or whatever the fuck.
15,982.
Yeah, which for anyone who doesn't know adds up to just about 600 years.
5-year show.
I will say, in the grand scheme of things, if you had to repeat 2 weeks of your life for an eternity, why wouldn't it be somewhere in the middle of August, doing things like going to the pool, going to a festival,
Watch as I do that, and every time I have a tea time booked, it rains.
Yeah.
That would be my own personal hell.
I would want to repeat a con weekend, but I just wake up every day feeling hungover.
Well, here's the thing. If we're doing Endless 8 laws, technically your memory gets reshaped, and you don't remember being hungover like that.
Yeah.
And still wake up feeling hungover.
Yeah, I mean, so anyway, for the Endless 8, I see what they were trying to do. However, I completely feel that my complaints are pretty much same as a lot of people. It's overwrought. It makes its point drives it into the ground. The writing gets incredibly lazy in my opinion because they could just keep doing the same beats over and over and over. Nothing really gets resolved. Nothing gets kind of furthered. In my opinion, I've said this to Steven, Jan, and Hannah before. If I could, if I was in charge of the writing, the way that I would have done the Endless Eight is I would have first cut it in half, and I would have made it 4 episodes. And I would have done the first episode being the beginning of the Endless Eight, basically as is. The second episode be the last episode of that season, and that's when they figure out that they're in a time loop. Or when Keon figures out that they're in a time loop.
Honestly, he is the one who figures out they're in a time loop.
Okay, yeah. And then start the second season, make that a 2-parter, and then end the Endless Eight at the end of that 2-part. That's how I would have done it. I think it would have made it more succinct. I think it would have cut down on a lot of the fat, because I know you're not defending it, you just wanted to show us it to make us suffer, which I kind of appreciate on some level. But Hannah, I just said too much. Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I mean, one anime I do like that I want to show you guys sometime, review Starlight. There actually is one episode that deals with time loops.
Cool.
There's one show I've talked about before where it's basically Madoka Magica but with theater girls. Kind of with a lot of the Love Live voice actresses involved in it.
What was it called? Reviews?
Starlight.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I haven't seen it, but...
Basically, theater girls having underground battles for who will be the top star.
Yeah.
And it's whichever girl wins has ultimate star power, and whoever loses just ends up getting all their will to act zapped out of them. But it's like one episode actually does reveal that there's one girl that's been winning like every single time, but each time like uses her one wish to just keep repeating one play that she did
So
with
kinda
all
like-
of her friends.
Kind of like the Future Diary, where Yuno's the one who keeps winning the death game and just hits the reset button every time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen this concept done well. It was. So I'll say this about the Endless Eight. The Endless Eight is interesting in that I would not have done it this way, and I would not have wanted to do it this way.
Yeah, at least the time loop episode of Review Starlight was condensed to a single episode.
Right.
And it conveyed its message with one episode.
Here's what I'll say about the Endless Eight, and it's one thing that you can only get by having it be 8 episodes, is that the euphoria that you feel when the time loop is actually broken.
The audible cheers made me laugh.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, what did we all do when the Endless Eight ended? What did we do?
We got very excited.
Yes. Jan, I mean, you were... Hey, Jan, you were there, like... What were you doing? You were kind of, like, getting up there and cheering, weren't you?
Yes, I feel like a man that was just released from his prison sentence or something.
Well, yeah, there you go. So I'll say this for the Endless Eight. There was no other way to make that feeling of euphoria, and it wasn't just a feeling of euphoria I was feeling, it was a feeling that I felt for the characters, that they had won this. You could not have felt that without feeling the other 8 episodes.
The other 7.
Yeah, the other 7 episodes. No, I'm not saying that's a good thing or enough to, like, save me wanting the Endless Eight to happen. I'm just saying that you could not have made that experience otherwise.
Yeah. Let me go into some of the background stuff for the Endless Eight. So, as Wade said, the structure that he laid out was the intended structure for the Endless Eight, I believe. Either that or it was a planned structure for the Endless Eight. But because, I don't know, something happened where they didn't... Where, I think this... I could be wrong about how they set this up. And anyone who actually watches this show and can do the research in the comments, so because I'm doing this kind of offhand, I think it was the studio just didn't have enough money to do just 4 episodes and have Disappearance be its own 4-episode set or 7-episode set, even though that would have been awesome. But so what they did was to recycle a lot of the scenes. They just we can do 8 episodes of the Endless Eight, so that way we can save some money by scene recycling. But so they just did the bare effort of just changing their clothes, which is what I was looking out for. Because Kyon wears a certain shirt that has 8 blocks on it that signifies the end of the Endless Eight, and that's the fact that I knew. So I was just waiting for I was waiting for that. And I kind of had a bunch of false starts because there's one shirt that he does wear that has 5 full blocks and 3 grayed out ones, and that kind of threw me through a loop.
Okay.
So yeah, it was really just a way for the studio to save money so they could just do the rest of the show and then put all the money towards the movie.
So rest in peace to the Endless Eight. I definitely get why it's kind of a favorite thing for fans of this show to show newcomers, because it's like I could only imagine what it would be like to watch this show on a week-by-week basis, each episode coming out, and it's literally the same one over and over again.
When the voice actors, when they did the convention runs like a couple years after that came out, they kept getting questions about it, and then one of the things they said was what they wanted to do was just have everyone like do something quirky with each episode to keep it interesting, but the Japanese studio said no, you're not going to do anything different. You're going to do this as your job describes, and you're going to do it that way only. And so they're like, well, fuck this job.
And I will say real quick, I do really like the voice cast.
Yes,
I think it is actually one of Crispin Freeman's best performances. Crispin Freeman.
It's a rare thing you can see Crispin Freeman having his light tone voice at the beginning, and then by the end have his like stock standard deep voice.
Well, it gets deeper, but it's never like an Alucard.
Yeah.
Like Alucard, which is what I think most people know Crispin Freeman for, is Alucard.
Or if you went to that one Crispin Freeman panel I went to a few years ago, everybody was asking him about voicing the gorilla from Overwatch.
Which I went to
Gorilla Grodd.
I went to that same panel a year or two before I ever met started dating Hannah, so...
I was there.
Yeah, but, I mean, I really love Chris. He's one of my favorite voice actors. And he is, like, this is kind of a weird...
And actually, you're talking about knowing Crispin Freeman for Alucard. I actually knew him as Shizuo from Durarara.
Oh, I mean... I hear a lot of good things about Durarara, so that's perfectly, valid.
Maybe I'll show it for club sometime.
This is the show I know Crispin Freeman from.
Disappearance?
Yep.
That's cool, but it's like you're not. It's like this is a show you know him from. Oh, you have no idea how hard this guy goes.
I was also watching Naruto at the same time. He voices Itachi, so yeah.
Okay.
Kind of go up to both.
But like, and I'll say this on the record. Crispin Freeman is probably my favorite living Dracula right now because of I'm serious, because of Alucard. Alucard is a good adaptation of the character of Dracula. Like, he's got all the same powers. It's just he wears a pimp hat and shoots people with pistols.
Yeah, so I'm gonna actually tighten the circle back on Disappearance, because there's one big positive that I never said to the group. Well, actually, I think I kind of said this because I was trying to like advertise the movie as a really good thing. It is one. It's my favorite. Like, Keanu's is the literally me character that I have. Like, one of them. The other one's Yoriichi from Canon.
Yeah.
Just the sarcastic asshole on the side.
Yeah.
But this is like one of the biggest character changes. Like, the Disappearance movie is Keanu's like reflection of character, and that's how it goes. He has to really challenge himself, saying, do I really want this normal life, or was I having fun with all the stuff that Haruhi threw me into, really. One of the better parts was one of his monologues where he describes there was a person down in hell, and then one day an angel came up and grabbed him and put him into heaven. And then he's like used to stuff in hell, and then tries to act the same way in heaven, but people give him weird looks and shit. So the question becomes, does he stay in heaven where everything's calm and utopic, or does he go back to hell because it's everything that he knew? And that is really one of the better parts of it, where he really has to think, do I want to keep this peaceful life now that Haruhi's out of the picture and I can just sit back, relax, and have a normal high school life? Or do I want to really go back? And in the end, he chooses to go back.
I think that's kind of a theme that, not to get too literary, but like John Milton with Paradise Lost wrote about, like, it better to rule in hell than serve in heaven, that kind of thing.
I think that was
kind of an extreme example, but I get the kind of mindset.
Paradise Lost, when was that?
That's
in
the
17th century. That was written in the 17th century.
It's the book about Lucifer, his fall from
I think
grace.
The author from the light novels read that and said, "Hey, what if I do that for my story?"
I wouldn't be surprised. I think the writers of Madoka Magica were drawing on the same kind of source material.
I mean, Paradise Lost. I thought that was a movie this entire time.
I mean, it was going to be with like Bradley Cooper, which would have been like beast as fuck, but like it never came.
I think I was thinking that, but I didn't know the book came out.
All right, actually a few things on my end. One, the thing about Paradise Lost is that it was supposed to be like an essay about how evil can be tempting, rather than is it better to live a holy and boring life or an unholy but interesting life? And also, I would say the theological question that there are no interesting people in heaven is, well, if you know who probably made it to heaven, that's probably not the best question. But here's what I'll say about the movie for me personally, the question of is it better to do this, be more quote unquote normal and have a more straightforward life, or have an interesting but an abnormal life. That's something that speak to me, because here's a bit about my own backstory to any of you here. My brother works at Apple. My sister is a surgeon, and the thing about me is I'm a paraprofessional who's also a podcast host, and so I'm objectively in a conventional sense, the least quote-unquote successful of the three. Like, my brother and sister, like, are making bank right now and have jobs that are seen as hella prestigious, like, But then again, I would say, both of them barely have any free time, barely do anything interesting outside of their work. And while me, I get to go to cons every weekend. I'm treated as like a micro celebrity at many panels, and even though this apartment is not always exactly the Ritz, it's comfortable and cozy enough to live. So I don't live like a prestigious life as my other two siblings, but I have fun. I laugh every day. I go on adventures, and that's the thing about the Haruhi Suzumiya that related to me, that I wouldn't trade my life for what they have, and because I just have too much fun with all of you here.
Okay. That's really sweet of you to say, but also a good mindset to have both in life and for understanding this movie. My thing about it is, I really appreciate that answer, by the way. I'll just keep saying that. But with the movie, I really like that choice. I kind of mentioned this before, but I just feel like that the show's sort of uneven tone didn't make that choice feel as big of a deal. It was still a big deal, but not like...
How I treat it is that the show did its purpose through the first three. So, if you guys don't really know, the show goes through the first three sets of light novels. And that's their own set of story. And then, but the disappearance is like one of the more, from what I've seen on doing some kind of like extra research. The fourth book is where things kind of take its most serious turn. So, I don't know. So it's one of my it really is one of my favorite things. And it's really like I said, and like I think one of the earlier episodes, this is what really drew me to the psychological stuff, because it actually makes me think.
Yeah. No.
And I really like it for it.
It's why... So Steven decided to show us Haruhi Suzumiya a lot longer than I would have expected, considering how much you like that show. But, I guess you showed us before like a year had elapsed, so I guess it makes sense. But the show that I showed Jan and I showed Hannah when they started getting... when me and Jan started watching anime together, and then when Hannah kind of joined our club, and then when you finally joined our club, so 2020, 2021, 2022, Serial Experiments Lane. I could tell, Steven, tell me if this is an accurate comparison, that the way you treat showing Haruhi Suzumiya to newcomers is the way that I feel about showing Serial Experiments Lane to people who've never seen it.
Yeah.
Just to watch the befuddled look on people's faces.
Like my favorite part was when they started episode 3. That's when I do like, okay, let's see how much I told them to buckle their seatbelts, but I want to see how bad that the impact hit. Wade was like, wait, what?
Yeah. I think I took it the hardest because I was certain that this show was going to be like... Okay, I wasn't certain of anything. I didn't know what this show was even going to be. But I had seen, like, the band...
Wade fell into the groove of, this is going to be a slice of life anime, and then in episode 3 was like, yeah, get out of that one.
Yeah, it's like I got launched like Doctor Strange through the fucking multiverse. But I had a good time with it. It's like that girl who was in that UFC fight. It was definitely a different ball game, but I had a blast.
Alright, so we can... generally end this segment. I'm going to go around the room, start with Hannah, and then we'll end with me. What we would give the show as a rating, and what we give the movie as a rating. So,
I think for both of them, I'd either give them a low S tier or a high A tier.
Wow. Dope.
I mean, show B tier, movie A tier.
Mm-hmm.
I would give the show a solid B tier. For the movie, I've bounced back and forth between a high A and a low S. I'm kind of leaning more towards a high A tier because while the movie is great, a lot of its shortcomings are things that happened in the show, but because the two things are sort of connected, I can't really disconnect them. So I probably would say like high A tier.
All right, so for me, I put the show at like a high B tier, even on the rewatch. I had it in B tier, but
Which is good for you that it holds up.
Yeah,
You know?
it holds up. It still holds up. For me, upon the rewatch of the movie and thinking everything that the show the website we watched at 9 Anime actually translated most of the Japanese that was on screen, because a lot of this is like very dependent on you knowing how to read Japanese. Since they translated it, it kind of elucidated more of Kyo's struggle for me. Instead of me having to go and try to look up what everything meant and then thinking back on it. I give the show an S tier. It's like a solid S tier for me. The movie an S tier because Kyo's struggle is highlighted a little bit more, and since it was already my favorite turning point character, they just kind of hit it up for me.
Okay, fair enough.
Alright.
I'm just waiting for my turn for Anime Club Next to watch my nostalgic anime that I need to see if it actually holds up.
Yeah,
It's Samurai 7.
Samurai 7, an adaptation of the Akira Kurosawa classic from the 50s.
The first anime boy I ever loved.
Yeah.
Heihachi.
Yeah, Heihachi.
It's
so
kind
now-
of is a minor character compared to the other 7 samurai, but whatever.
Yeah,
All
there
right,
you go.
We'll get there when we get there.
Alright, we are done with the Anime Roundup.
Why don't we just do rapid fire of other stuff that we've either played or seen?
And I was wondering should we wrap it up, because I feel like we've been going forever.
Yeah, well, I kind of felt like that Suzumiya was going to be like the big bulk of the show, and it really did turn out to be that. So, mainly because Wade's like, oh yeah, I'm writing notes. Like, oh, this should be fine. I'm going to have like a page of notes. No, it's 3 fucking pages of notes.
Okay, well, it's on a pretty thin notepad, so...
Yeah, it's still the same thing. But, so we're going to rapid fire. So, we also watched some movies and played some video games between the last couple episodes. So, we're going to rapid fire through this stuff, and hopefully in this in like 2 hours. Our movie, the list of movies that I have over here is we watched both Puss in Boots movies recently.
Yeah, very
Great
good.
movies.
Great.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is very deserving of all the memes.
Yeah, the which is the second one, absolutely lives up to the hype. I mean, it's got the same kind of Lord Miller kind of animation that you see in Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I think we all liked John Mulaney being a villain that revels in his villainy.
Yeah.
What took you so long, idiot?
You're not gonna shoot that dog, are you? Yeah, in the
Real
face. Why? I mean, every single time he was on screen, it was a fucking banger. But the thing that I didn't expect to enjoy as much that I ended up really enjoying was Goldilocks and the Three Bears, who
so
are
you kept
basically
calling them the Chav Bears.
That's because they're chavs. All of them are chavs. Like, I mean, one of them is played by Ray Winstone, but they all sound like they just drink Stella and eat Greggs and listen to Oasis and are just like getting into fights. Like, I like to imagine that all 4 of them, including Oscar-nominated actress Florence Pugh, just sat around and listened to Wibbling Rivalry together to get into where Noel and Liam are like, do you think it's fucking rock and roll to get thrown out of a fucking bitch's house?
Who the fuck was talking about the Sex Pistols?
Oi, this porridge isn't too hot. Who gives a fuck? It's porridge. Fucking eat this shit, mate. I mean, I loved all 3. But the first movie wasn't...
It was very weirdly horny for a kid's movie.
Well, I mean...
It's also
I think,
Latin, and as a Latin representative at the table, the culture is generally horny. What am I going to say? I can't fucking defend that shit.
I mean... To kind of intersect that with animals being the star, the furry lover.
that would hurt. That would hurt.
I mean, this was before the made true con to furry, and my personal favorite joke for that movie, maybe because I have a sick sense of humor, but when Humpty Dumpty was warning Puss about the consequences of what they are about to do, do you know what they would do in San
Ricardo
prison? Let's just say that,
It isn't over easy.
Yep, that hurts. It hurt.
So yeah, both Puss in Boots movies were good. One was obviously better than the other, but both are worthy of your time and attention. And Puss in Boots 2 is definitely up to the hype.
Yep.
Definitely up to the hype. And you can't always say that about a movie, but that one was one of them. I would give Puss in Boots 1 a probably low A, maybe high B.
I'd say mid B tier.
Yeah, Puss in Boots 2, solid S.
Solid S.
I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, I had to do a little more thinking about it. Did I ever tell you guys about what's my favorite Western animated movie?
Yeah.
Prince of Egypt?
Iron Giant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm contemplating replacing Iron Giant with Puss in Boots 2 now, so...
Oh, wow. I mean, both are great. I mean, Iron Giant makes me cry every time, but Puss in Boots 2 was certainly a great movie. I think my favorite Western animated movie, by the way, is probably Prince of Egypt. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, it's... Yeah. Alright, so we're going to swap onto a movie that Jan and Wade watched.
Because I did not go to the theater with you guys because I was sleepy.
I know. You were sleepy.
And I was at work.
Yeah.
Work an hour away.
We went to go see Transformers Rise of the Beast. I wrote down Transformers Beast Wars, but Rise of the Beast. As a guy who kind of sort of similar to what I was saying about Haruhi Suzumiya, I kind of showed up late to the party with Transformers. Never was the biggest fan, but now I'm finding myself, growing more into liking this franchise. I had a really great time with Rise of the Beast.
I mean, Transformers is kind of nostalgic for me because, my earliest memories as a kid, kind of like how I'm super hyper fixated on Love Live. When we were little kids, my brother was super fixated on Transformers, like classic Transformers, so some of my earliest memories as a kid involved just giant totes of Transformers toys.
There you go.
I remember there was one helicopter one I always played with as a kid.
Nice.
And actually, let me give my thoughts on the movie. Like, the movie was, I'd agree with Wade, like solid B tier or something.
I said like high B, low A tier.
But I was most excited to see this movie because I absolutely loved the 90s Beast Wars series. It's the best thing that Transformers ever created. It was like one of the first CGI animated series. It hit all the high notes of what characters should be written as, and the thing about I could go on and on about how great Beast Wars was from the version of Optimus in that series is less of this great epic hero making speeches on humanity being at its best. He was more like a disgruntled middle manager or something, and how can I say anything about Dinobot, who was originally a Deceptic or a Predacon as the series went, who later defected to the Maximals, who he was this kind of samurai kind of figure who also quoted Shakespeare, and the episode that very much focused on him is seen as one of the best of the Transformers franchise, and also had a villain who was basically a scorpion version of Hannibal Lecter. So
yeah. So I'll say this for the movie. The movie was great. Always good to hear Peter Cullen voicing Optimus Prime. He was obviously born to play that role. I really like the new kind of Beast characters, like Optimus Primal, who was the gorilla character I really like. He was the one played by Hellboy, Ron Perlman. He does a great job. And there's
I
also
gotta watch Hellboy 1 and 2.
those are great
those
movies.
Are great
Those movies kick ass. And then there's a human guy who's actually like usually human characters in Transformers movies fucking suck.
Except Marky Mark.
Marky Mark is fun. I'll say he's fun. But this new human character played by, I forget the actor's name. He was on the stage production. He was mainly a stage actor before this. He was in he worked mainly with Lin-Manuel Miranda on In the Heights, and I think he was Thomas Jefferson in Hamilton during the original Broadway run. But
I don't know. I'm only a theater kid in the pit.
Well, there you go. But he really came into his own as the main human character. Like he was really good in the part, and he was he was fun to watch. Like become like an actual action star. Which, if you see the end credit scene of this movie, it might be more true than you might think. But yeah, I'd give a high recommendation to seeing it if you can still get to it. I'm sure you can. But yeah. Had a lot of fun at the theater with that one. Definitely one that you should try to see on the big screen because there's a lot of big, wide, epic kind of action shots. And
speaking of things that were on the big screen a couple years ago, The Last Dragon.
That was on the screen.
They did a 30th anniversary re-airing back in like 2015, I think.
Nice. Yeah, I guess we'll call this. I guess we'll cap it off here with talking about Last Dragon, but we have to talk about Last Dragon because it's Last Dragon, and it has the greatest cinematic villain ever made shown up.
So preface for this movie.
It's Motown made a kung fu movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Back when Motown was
relevant.
Like
they weren't really relevant. Was that kind of when they were losing relevance?
Back when Motown was going through a mass extinction event.
Yeah. Okay. So some preface was the reason why I got these guys to watch it was one, I haven't watched it in a few years, and I wanted to see how it held up. One, kind of like Suzumiya, interestingly.
Yeah.
Two, Discord. I showed it to a bunch of my friends in Discord, and they loved it. So I wanted to show my my real life friends this one. So
yeah.
And Wade had one of the better times with this from what I saw.
Well, okay. So I had a lot of different reactions. At first, Barry Gordy, the guy who
basically made Motown.
Yeah, made and ran Motown. Put his name loud and proud on this movie, which is like, okay, Barry Gordy was like one of the great record producers of all time. And the fact that he signed off on this goofy ass kung fu movie is infinitely entertaining.
The funny thing is,
to me.
this movie is commonly known as The Last Dragon, but the entire movie name is Motown's Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon.
yeah, his name is literally in the title, which makes it even better. And I'm not throwing shade at Barry Gordy. He's great, but it's like
one of his bastard kids, Rockwell, is prominently in the soundtrack.
Yeah, you got Rockwell,
right.
You had Vanity, you had Eddie Murphy who was in this fucking soundtrack with Party All the Time on there.
Yeah. Which that was a Motown record too, Party All the Time, wasn't it?
Yeah, because
that's why it played 80 times in the fucking movie.
I think it was Rick James kind of adopted Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy for a while.
Yeah.
I'm mixing up all the famous names.
Yeah,
I'm Rick James, bitch.
I mean, they're very similar in the way they present themselves, so it's not really hard to get them mixed up.
And a quick aside, Eddie Murphy was fucking young as hell when he
he was 19 when he was on SNL. I think that, according to the Todd in the Shadows video.
Yeah, and he's only about as old as my dad, and so that means he would have gotten started real young, But yeah, seeing, just knowing that Motown had such a hand in making this goofy-ass, weird kung fu
This,
movie.
blaxploitation movie at, 10, maybe 5 years after Blackwood takes
And-
it, just kind of stopped being a thing.
Here's the thing. The movie is 80s as fuck. I think we can all agree with that.
Yeah,
it's super 80s.
The best way I can describe this movie is if Harlem acted like Bruce Lee Kung Fu movie logic.
Yeah, but my thing is, my description of it, this movie is 80s as fuck, but it's like someone took the 80s and skin grafted it over a script from the 70s. Because
Also, gotta love how the main love interest was played by the woman who apparently taught Nikki Sixx how to freebase cocaine. And being a bigger drug addict than Nikki Sixx.
Yes, the leading lady was
Her name was
Vanity,
Yeah.
who
Apparently got that name from Prince when she was engaged to him for a while and was kind of one of his proteges.
damn, she had a type. So the thing is, this movie is so wild and out of pocket. But the craziest thing about it for me is the fact that this woman, that the leading lady, was literally almost married to Nikki Sixx, the bassist from Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Or the-
And
or the
I
main-
did double check the timelines. Like apparently they announced they were engaged in 1987, sometime in 1987.
Right.
And apparently in December 1987 was when Nikki Sixx had that one overdose where he died and then got brought back to life.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
Kickstart My Heart's about.
Yes,
And,
one of my
and,
favorite Motley Crue songs,
And
by the way.
if those who only listen to modern rock, Nikki Sixx is the lead vocals for 6 a.m.
Oh, that's right. And he's
yeah.
also what the song "Crying Like a Bitch" by Godsmack is about.
Wait, no, that's Vince Neil.
That's Vince Neil.
Wait, is
Oh,
it?
oh wait, no, that's Dude Looks Like a Lady. Yeah, the Crying Like a
Wait,
Bitch is about
Dude-
Motley Crue being.
wait,
I mean, Nikki Sixx being a little bitch.
Dude Looks Like a Lady is about Vince
Yeah,
Neil,
because
not Nikki Sixx?
no, because Steven Tyler saw Vince Neil just from behind at a bar and said, like, that looks like a pretty hot girl, and then he turned her
Oh, that's a dude.
Dude looks like a lady. Dude looks like a lady.
Circling back to Last Dragon, do we have any favorite quotes from that movie? Because that movie is no, actually a little bit of trivia that before I go on. So Last Dragon had the movie they were watching from Bruce Lee, because this movie was basically just inspired from Bruce Lee movies.
Well, he pops up in archival footage because
Yes,
he was
the
long dead by
archival
then.
footage was what was that movie?
Enter the Dragon?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Enter the Dragon. That's the movie
Which
that they were
I keep
watching.
confusing the title of this movie for.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. So that's what. So they were watching Enter the Dragon. The movie's called The Last Dragon.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably the homage, which is probably one of the funnier ones. Because
Yeah.
you got our main dude dressed up like an actual Chinese martial artist and like the heavy button down stuff. eating
Yeah.
Popcorn with chopsticks is apparently an integral character of the
No,
guy.
he doesn't even look like a kung fu guy. He looks just like a regular, like, Chinese peasant from,
Yeah.
like...
He was a Chinese peasant. If he was like a Chinese slave peasant, if I had to be honest.
Yeah, but here... Okay, so favorite quote. Anything Shonuff said is...
Yeah,
Show
that jukebox.
Shit.
That like,
Shogun,
jukebox or the
Shogun.
that it's like turn the shit off.
Yeah, he's like, bitch, shut up!
Who put this shit on? Bitch, shut up!
Yeah.
With the discount Cyndi Lauper girl.
Oh, yeah. Here's the thing. I would have loved if they had done Enter the Dragon 2 just for the possibility of a Nikki Sixx cameo.
Oh yeah, God. Well, yeah. No, so one of my other favorite quotes was "Nobody cry." Oh, who was the fucking main guy's name? Like,
Oh, I forgot.
who cares? Shonuff is like the still star stealer of the show.
Shonuff, and I can't remember the leading ladies. I just know that her name's Vanity. So
It's like, God, who really cares? It's Vanity. No one called her by her real name anyway.
And I know the main guy was played by another guy that goes by a mononym.
Yeah, it
but-
was TNA.
yeah. That's the thing. A lot of mononyms in this movie.
Yeah.
Shonuff, whenever Shonuff had an introduction for this show, we all knew. At least I knew I was in for a show. These guys knew, like, oh god, what the hell's gonna happen next?
He was hilarious. I mean, the whole movie was like a lot of fun and kind of out of pocket, or definitely out of pocket. But he was, even then, he was sort of the standout point in it, just because
The Shogun, like, if you look up the movie synopsis, he calls himself the Shogun of Harlem.
Yeah, it's
With
like
a name like that, you guys like the fact that he's also one of the characters that's taken seriously in this fucking movie.
Well, that's the thing. One thing that like, it's weird for me to even give praise to a movie this kind of weird and out of pocket and campy. But one thing I will say is that it's clear all the actors were completely dialed into the weird reality that this movie actually exists in, and they were clearly having a lot of fun. Like, especially the guy who played Shonup. Like, I can tell he was just having a ball.
He was all in on it.
Oh yeah, he was all in on it. The little kid, the brother of the main guy, he was actually a good.
I'm tired of this yellow wearing black ass.
Like he was a good little child actor. The thing is that there are a couple of bizarre like early appearances of guys who would end up becoming William H. Macy is in it.
This is one of the parts where I knew Wade was going to throw a fit because I knew Macy got his start from this movie.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of the people that he liked got their start from like The Last Dragon, and just seeing those characters come in there and Wade just absolutely losing his shit was great for me.
I've had moments like that where you're like watching kind of an old bad movie and you see you see an actor that you recognize. Like you're watching an old bad movie and you see like the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. Like before it became the big show in the 90s. It was actually originally a movie that came out in like 1991, I want to say.
I thought it was 90 flat, but alright, keep going.
Early 90s. There's a tall, dark-haired basketball player in that movie that the main like vampire plays against. That guy is Ben Affleck. And when I saw him, I'm like, hold up, pause that shit real quick. Who is that Ben Affleck? And it's like, you'll watch like these old, kind of bad movies, because the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie is a bad movie. I mean, good show, but bad movie. But you'll see like an actor before they like really got big, and it's kind of like, it's almost like an unintentional Easter egg in a way, and that's how I felt about William H. Macy. Because this guy, I love William H. Macy. Like, he was amazing in Fargo. Like, he's basically great in everything he's in. But just to see him here, and weirdly ageless, because he has apparently always looked 45.
This movie I really want to introduce to basically our cinephiles in the group, because I know a whole bunch of fun, because the fun facts about this movie just make it funnier.
Well, the music facts of it is what kills me. The fact that Motown, that basically Berry Gordy like mobilized Motown to make this movie happen.
The credits are popping up, you just see Berry
Gordy is all over the credits.
Yeah.
Like, not just in...
Wait, it's like, wait, Berry Gordy did this?
Yeah. The thing about it is, it's not just that Berry Gordy put his name on, like, the title is like, Berry Gordy presents, and no, he's like a producer. He's like, I think, like I know he's a producer, like listed several times. I think he might have been a writer on it.
He was a writer and a producer.
Yeah, like, his name is all over this thing, and it's almost kind of jarring just to see someone, like, I almost feel like this was a passion project for him in a way. Because it's like, I know this movie did not make a lot of money. Like, I checked the box office result. When you're going up against Back to the Future and Commando, come on. You're not... I
mean, it was the top performing kung fu movie of its day.
Sure, but, like, how many of those were coming out in a year in 1985?
Yeah, you do have a point. But the best part about it was they had a cult re-showing and cast Q&A back in 2015.
Oh, I have no doubt that this movie has like a cult following, and not even in kind of the jokey sort of like
The Room.
Like The Room or something. No, I'm sure this movie has like a fan base. Like, you've run into movies like that. Like one of the great cult movies, like Tremors. Tremors has a huge like cult following, to the point where it's not even a cult following anymore. It's just a following.
I mean, Tremors. I mean, Tremors, along with its sequels, have annual movie festivals in Arizona, hosted by by the actor who plays the most popular character in that franchise.
Yes, American Treasure Burt Gummer. But
Yeah. So, last second we all had our favorite quotes. The special when Shonuff just this fucking donkey kicked the jukebox machine.
and then they just started wrecking the pizza shop.
Yeah, because they were looking for the guy. I don't fucking care what his name is. He had a character. There was something for Tiamat.
Oh yeah, and then there was kind of the
The final battle scene where because of course because they much like a whole bunch of kind of like Full Metal Panic where they introduce like a mystical thing but don't actually capitalize until the end of the series.
yeah.
They kind of did that with the glow. Apparently, Shonuff had the glow, which was funny as shit when that came out.
So one more thing I'll say about
The Last Dragon.
The Last Dragon is that I really liked. I mean, I really enjoyed the movie. But I was happy to see that the main guy who was entertaining in the role, he never really pursued much after Last Dragon. Like a lot of these, this was one of those movies where most of the stars, once they had gotten their check, they basically just went home.
Yeah.
After that, and it's like not that I didn't wish for better things for them, but it's like sometimes, you do one movie and you just kind of say, screw it. I had my fun. I had my day in the sun, and you just go home.
I mean, that's a mentality a lot of great child actors have.
Like the original actor for Charlie from the original Willy Wonka movie.
Yeah,
that was his only movie role. Then he became a horse veterinarian.
And also Newt from Aliens, who just became a teacher afterwards.
Yeah, school teacher.
If I remember correctly, Tiamat tried to do some more kung fu movies, but then I think he just gave up acting and said, "Yeah, no, I can't do it because I've been typecast."
Yeah, and that's fine too. I mean, as long as they get to live happy, healthy lives, because we see what happens to child stars when they kind of languish in the
especially after the Disney treatment they get.
Yeah, and even those that don't get the Disney treatment, like Eddie Furlong, the kid who was brilliant as John Connor. Terminator 2, tried to get into the movie business in the 90s, kind of fell through by the early 2000s.
Or Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle when he kind of just roasted every single producer as a child toucher, but we're not going to get into that.
Yeah. It's a hard business. I mean, not that I've been exposed to it. And typically the child actors that make it are the career ones who have been doing it since they were like 4 or 5. Basically did it because it's all they've ever known. And the ones that don't have stage parents, especially.
Alright, so I'm gonna go around the room again if you guys actually want to rate this one the same way we do our anime shows.
Oh, sure, let's do it.
Hannah, how'd you like the movie?
Like, I want to say S tier just for the fun of it.
Okay, Jan, how'd you think of the movie?
The Haruhi Suzumiya one?
No.
We've been talking about Last Dragon for the last like 10 minutes.
Last Dragon, B tier.
I give it the most loving, caring B tier that I can possibly give.
I give it an A tier because now I get some of the jokes in there. Because the first time I saw this movie, I was like 5 years old.
So,
I rate things based on fun.
Yeah. And Last Dragon is certainly fun. I hope Barry Gordy makes an anime someday.
Oh,
Barry Gordy presents Kids on the Slope.
If Barry Gordy made Kids on the Slope, I think we'd have a better rating for it.
Oh yeah, I mean, maybe Rockwell could play Brother June. All these girls want me.
Oh god, especially what was that, horror pop back in the day?
Yeah. Who's watching me now? The IRS!
Hey. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining the show tonight. I know it's a bit of a longer one, but we did have a lot to cover.
A lot to cover, but I had a blast recording this episode.
Next time we will get to the rest of our topics that we kind of did. after our Midwest review and all of that.
Yeah.
Fun jazz.
We'll have some fun stories.
So some topics you can look forward to us getting us after our Adventures in Midwest. So we'll have the Midwest review, and then we'll go into the video games that we played from this past couple of weeks, which has been the first 2 Mass Effect games, and then the first 3 Kingdom Hearts games. And brace yourselves for that one because I'm going to be doing a lot of talking when it comes to Kingdom Hearts.
And also we will be reviewing Oppenheimer and Barbie.
Yeah, so get ready for that one.
The Barbenheimer day.
The Barbenheimer.
And expect me to talk about our last golf games too, because
Yeah,
that's gonna be
And what Barbie and Oppenheimer have in common. Does anybody ever think about dying?
you know, what part of
Barbie be like, in this world is a...
Yeah.
I am become Barbie, destroyer of worlds.
You know, the funny thing is, Barbie has a house in Malibu right now. The Oppenheimer. I'm sorry, I'm drunk. They have the best opportunity for a movie ad right now.
To just build that same tower that...
No, to bomb the house.
Here's the thing. No, what they should do is they should make a pastel pink Fat Man.
Actually, to finish my joke, Barbie says, in this world, is the destiny of mankind controlled by some transcendental entity or law? Is it like the hand of God hovering over? If this is true, then man has no control even over his own will.
The summer of Kenergy. No. The Barbie Oppenheimer thing should be called Nuclear Kenergy.
Also, personal story. It's because of my sister's Barbie dolls that I discovered at a very young age, hey, I like boobs.
And on that note...
we will be taking off again.
So
we will be reviewing Midwest, Oppenheimer, Barbie, and the video games that...
And whatever anime we've decided to watch in that time.
Yes.
So we want to say thank you very much for tuning in. We will see you in the next episode, and now we will do our round of goodbyes, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Sayonara, bye-bye.
Good night and good luck.
Alright, everyone, stay frosty.